So let's have a look at the control panel layout and functionality of the LUPO Superpanel Full Color 30 RGBW light. So if I turn it on, you're greeted by the screen, then it comes up in the default mode, which is the CT mode, and you'll see we've got dimmer, our Kelvin color temperature, and our plus minus green correction here. So just like normal LUPO lights, if you're familiar with them, this dial here goes between your Kelvin color temperatures. Now the nice thing about an RGBW light, if you're not even bothering to use the RGB features, is that you get the increased Kelvin color temperature range. So in this case now we can go from 2800 and we can go in very small 50 Kelvin increments. We can go all the way up to 10,000 Kelvin. Just bring it back down here. And then over on this side here, this is our normal intensity level. And again, we can go up in 1% increments. And you'll see that the light actually comes on from 1% and then goes up. Now, the nice thing about this new version of the Superpanel here being RGB is you now have plus minus green correction available. So this is really handy in situations where you want to match other lighting fixtures, or you walk into, say, a room with fluorescent lights that may have quite a green or magenta cast. And what you can do is you can dial your light in to better match those conditions. So again, that's really easy to do. Just on the knob here below your Kelvin color temperature, you can see I can make the adjustments to plus and minus green. So here, if we go all the way down, this is now taking green out, and we can go down to a level of 1.0. This is now adding magenta. And if we go up into the positive numbers, we can go all the way up to 1.0. This is now adding green to our light. If you're familiar with LUPO Superpanel lights, you'll notice that the controls are all exactly the same. We've got an up, a down, and a mode button. The mode button acts as a menu button. So if I press it once, we go into manual options. I press it again, we're in CCT mode. That's the mode we're in now, which allows us to change the Kelvin color temperature and the plus minus green. If I go up once here to HSI mode, and I now turn it on, and then I press this again, we're now in HSI mode. HSI mode stands for hue, saturation, and intensity. So our Kelvin color adjustment dial here is labeled as well as hue. So in this particular mode, it now controls the hue of our light. Our plus minus green adjustment button now becomes our saturation. So this is increasing the saturation of whatever color we're adjusting. And then our intensity is increasing the intensity. So to get out of this mode, we press the mode button again to manual options, press it again, then we move up from CCT mode, we've got HSI mode, now we want to go to RGBW mode, press the mode button to turn it on, press it again, and now we are in our RGB mode, which stands for red, green, and blue. Obviously this is a way of mixing different colors to create whatever type of color that you like. Now the way this works is a little bit different, so we need to use our plus minus green adjustment here, and you'll see this allows us to move between our values of RGB and, sorry I forget to mention, W, which is white, so red, green, blue, and white. So this goes between our various things, and then of course we use the up and down buttons to change these values. So if I want to reduce red or I want to increase red, I do it here. I can then move over to blue, and again if I want to increase the amount of blue, I can either go up in small increments, or by holding the button down it goes up very quickly. Again, if I want to move over to white, I can adjust that as well, and the intensity button is adjusting the intensity of that output. Again, to get out of that mode, press the mode button 1 to manual options, press it again, and then I can toggle through to different ones. So this is a preset mode here. So if I press this button again once, you can see I've preset a red light in here. So if I press it, it comes up. So this is going to be a way of being able to store presets in here. I think you can store up to 5 from memory. So you can have different ones in here. There's user presets, as well as I think 14 factory presets that are in here that LUPO have put in. So it's a nice way of being able to bring up a color or a setup that you want to use repeatedly, and you can just recall it and bring it up. Nice to be able to do that. Again, if we go to user preset 5, and we can go down to these different presets, and we can recall them, and you can see all these are some of the ones that are in here as factory presets: strawberry, magenta, lavender, cerulean, pastel blue, Caribbean, diva green, orange, gold, purple, soft pink, blue, green, red, and then back to our user presets. Again, to get out of that, back into manual operations, press it once, then I can toggle through to my presets, and now we've got our effects mode. So again, if I press the effects on, you can see now I bring up different effects. So I've got strobe, I've got party, I've got cop car, I've got disco, and that goes back. So if I go back to, say, cop car, for instance, and I activate that, and I press it again, you can see I'm now in the cop car way. And so to make adjustments here, you can see I can change the frequency of how quickly it's strobing. And I can also change between different variations here of colors, red and blue, or blue and white, or RGB, or red, blue and white, depending on what I want to create. So that's just some of the ways of activating the effects. Again, back into manual options, press it once, go across, there's our effects, and that is basically it in terms of what we've got in the light. If I go back to our normal CCT operation mode, so pretty much there you go. That's the LUPO Superpanel and how it works and the functionality of it. It is a little bit confusing, and it takes a while to get used to this menu system, particularly when you're making changes to RGB and HSI modes. In the normal CCT operation mode, very easy to make changes. You're just going to have to take a little bit of time to learn how to work with HSI, RGB, W, and also the effects modes.